what time are we meeting David?
Oh, I don't know. Let me ask him.
Well, wait, you do that car. Come on.
Me and Alex got a couple very attractive dinner dates. I cannot wait.
What time are we supposed to meet them then?
3:30, I think.
More like 4. We're gonna be late.
Well, good luck, man.
Thanks.
That's a beautiful night, Rob.
Thanks, man.
Because he's a jerk. I don't know.
Yeah, see you later. Hey man, just put your stuff in the trunk. So man, you excited about tonight?
Yeah, man. You gonna make your move on Cayman?
I don't know about that, man.
Sure?
We're just friends.
We have to be there in like 10 minutes, and it's 20 minutes away.
Dude, I wish it warm up out here. It's too cold.
You know, I kinda like the cold.
Is that David? Do what?
David, look out!
Oh my God, Katie!
Oh my God!
Spokesman 911, what's the address of your emergency?
We're in Inman and I'm scared. My friend's got in a wreck.
How many vehicles are involved?
2, but there's 4 people and one was flung out of the car and we need help, please, because this is scaring me.
I've got help on the way.
Hey, I'm Rusty.
Hi.
All right, I'm gonna hold your neck here, okay?
Okay.
You wearing your seatbelt?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're gonna be okay.
Well, Ryan, we see 2 cars out here. 2-car collision. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened out here?
Yes, ma'am. At this point in time with our investigation, what we've determined, we had 1 vehicle heading north, 1 vehicle heading south. We have had time to interview all the occupants that were inside the vehicles. Based on what we've been told at this point in time, both occupants were using their cell phones and texting while they were driving down the road. Sadly, they knew each other. They were on their way to meet one another, had no idea that this was going to happen. While one of the 2 occupants was, one of the 2 drivers was texting, crossed the center line, the other one reacted. They overcorrected. When they overcorrected, they ran off the roadway and ended up striking a telephone pole.
Do we have any fatalities at this point?
We do, and unfortunately it was very much preventable. One of the individuals that was in the car chose to not wear a seatbelt, and due to that, when they struck the telephone pole, they were ejected from the vehicle and unfortunately lost their life.
And the extent of the other injuries, the 3 other people involved?
At this point in time, what I have been informed is one of them was airlifted to the hospital. The other 2 were transported by ground with EMS. The extent of their injuries we cannot comment on at this point in time because we have not made sure that everybody's been notified within the families.
You talked about texting and driving out here. That's not something you typically release this early on in an investigation. What gave you that solid lead that, yeah, this might be a cause of the accident?
Well, obviously we were able to interview some of the individuals that were involved in this crash, and through that interview process they told us what was going on and they were very honest about that. And at times there's a time that we need to get that out and make sure that the general public understands that message and understands just how dangerous texting and driving is and the choices of texting and driving that go along with it.
What about not wearing a seatbelt? I mean, what kind of message do you want us to send to the public about that?
You know, that's the number one thing that you can do every time you get into an automobile, whether you're the driver of that vehicle or you're the passenger of that vehicle. Several things happen in any type of a crash, and the most important thing you and every passenger in your car can ever do is put that seatbelt on. Simply one person in that car making the choice to not put that seatbelt can cost the lives of every other person in that car, because they become an object flying around the inside of that vehicle. So we try to encourage, you look at our stats statewide, year after year after year, 50% of the people who die who have access to seatbelts choose to not put them on, and we know if those people were wearing those seat belts, we would save many lives. That's not one or two, that's hundreds of lives that are lost just by making one choice. This collision happened today because of two terrible choices that were made. Number one, they chose to text and drive. Secondly, they chose to not put a seatbelt on. Both were preventable. It's all about making the proper choices when you're driving the car.
Going back to the description of the people involved, you mentioned they were young. Were they students? Do you know where they went to high school?
From what I understand, it was students from Chapman High School, and it was students from Landrum High School that were friends, and they were actually meeting each other. It's just a tragic set of circumstances that they had to meet like this.
What kind of void do you feel like is going to be there in the two high schools now that they've lost, you know, a couple people?
It's a tremendous void. As we speak to high school students throughout the state of South Carolina, one thing that we tell them, whether they like each other or not, we all have family members we may not like, but you know what, they're a family. And they may not know every student in their school, but the one thing that we try and get out of them, anytime that we lose a young person, everybody in that school is going to know that young person's name. Everybody's going to think that they knew them because of all the stories they're going to hear about them at that time. And it's a community. This is a very tight-knit community, and it's something that's tragic that they're going to have to live with. Obviously, if we don't learn from things like this, then people unfortunately lose their life in vain, and that's what we don't want to happen. We want to make sure this is a learning experience and make sure that not only do the students, but the community and all the listeners out there also learn from this.
Hi kids, this is Donna Hicks, South Carolina House of Representatives. Remember, don't text and drive. Wait to text.